everyone, Al DeMarco here, and this is going to be your Wednesday video report. And joining me, finally, the one, the only Anthony Red, who is enjoying the morning, sitting outside in the backyard in Vegas, a gorgeous day. Yes, you are real, and let's address that. I can't believe how many people thought that I actually hired an actor to be Anthony Red. No offense to you, but I probably would have hired a better-looking actor. First shot of the day.
I don't blame you. I mean, I'm not an actor. I never claimed to be one. I'm me. I'm real. I'm here in Las Vegas for whoever doesn't believe. And that's it.
I mean, I always tell guys in the videos that, I've never even seen your home. I'm surprised you have a place you live at. I just figured you eat, you sleep, you drink, and you just live at the sports book. And I'm not going to say which one, because then we'll have a tent community suddenly forming tomorrow with all your fans showing up, especially after the amount of money you've made in the past 2 months. But I'm surprised. I mean, I see you sometimes at restaurants, but I didn't know there was like a residence for Anthony Red. I just thought it was like a sports book.
Well, everybody needs a break once in a while, and this is my break. I get to sit in the backyard, listen to the birds chirp, go in the swimming pool, and relax.
This is kind of scary. If you tell me you're going to be reading poetry later today, I'm really going to be worried about you, and it's going to ruin the whole reputation I built up for you. Because, and as I've told everybody here on the videos many, many times, you are the number one ball buster in the company. I might be a close second, but I know there's a couple of balls you'd like to bust after last night. You, of course, had Iona. I'm telling you, what a total collapse by that team.
Unbelievable. The team had 55 points with 5 minutes to go in the first half. They scored 17 points the rest of the game in 25 minutes. I don't deserve to win a game like that if you can't score more than 17 points in 25 minutes.
And look at the other play-in game last night between Mississippi Valley State and who the hell did they play? I can't remember right now.
Kentucky.
Yeah, Western Kentucky. I mean, Western Kentucky was down 17 or up 17 points in that game. I mean, And
well, I guess, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, he says, there was a big thing about, on the selection committee, why BYU get in, had BYU get in, and, they have these arguments every year, and, all right, the team was down 25 points. It's the biggest comeback in tournament history. That's how they make the case for BYU. It's those things that the committee, when they get it right, they look like geniuses.
And listen, I always tell guys, that the breaks ultimately even out over the long haul. And after doing this for 25 some years, personally, I think actually the breaks ultimately go more for you in your favor than they do against you. But of course, when you lose a game like last night, as we're talking about the Iona game, or if you happen to be on the wrong side in the Western Kentucky game too, I mean, it's one of those things that you got to shrug off and just say, it was one of those things, and you move on. But I'm sure that you, like me, find that a lot of gamblers, a lot of handicappers, they just dwell on a loss and they lose focus that today's another betting opportunity, today's another money-making opportunity.
Listen, when you gamble, you got to have short-term memory loss, and I mean really short, especially when the tournaments come, because it's day after day after day. During the season, you can take a break for a couple of days, but when the tournaments are on, you got to have real short-term memory loss. You got to forget about it, and you got to move on. Just like they say in the NBA, when they have a bad loss, those guys, when they get on the plane, they forget about it. The NFL, they get on the plane, they forget about it. They get to work the next day, and it's all about the next team. And when you gamble, it's the same exact thing. You're going to take your bad beats. It's just inevitable. The more games you bet, the more things you're going to run into, the more craziness you're going to see, and that's just a fact of gambling. Like when you say the breaks even out, you're 100% right. The only problem I have with that is the money doesn't even out. What about when you got big plays and you blow a game like last night? Like Trace Adams had I think a 1,500 star play last night. My play was only 40 dimes, but, what do you do when you blow a game like that? You really got to keep focused when, you're blowing a big part of your bankroll on a bad loss like that. It's tough. It's a grind. It's really tough, but, in order to be successful at it, you really got to forget about those types of games.
And folks, this is why Anthony Redd is the biggest ball buster in this business and in this company, because only he could come on to the video for the first time with me on my video and take a pot shot at Trace Adams. I mean, you're brutal. I got to tell you, you're brutal. But listen, one thing that you did point out is that it comes down to big loss versus the bankroll. The thing is, and listen, I've talked about you nicely most of the time here on the videos for the past 6 weeks, right. And I know if I don't talk about you nicely, I hear from you anyway. But the bottom line is you were in a position, nobody likes to lose, but you took a shot last night with the 49 play. I mean, you had won 7 of your previous 9 49 plays, and even after losing last night with Iona, I mean, you're still 47-25 over the past 56 days, and in that 56-day period, I mean, we're almost talking 2 months, a $10 better is up $8,825. So, actually $8,822. God forbid if I'm wrong, you'll probably point that out. But that's the key. I mean, when you've got that accumulated bankroll, you have the opportunity to take shots. I mean, you're coming right back tonight, not with 1 play, but with 4 plays. They're all 25-dime selections, and you've won 11 of those last 15. That's the thing, though. I think that, as you said, and I agree with you, you have to have selective short-term memory deficit, but you also have to not be afraid. You can't bet scared. You can't bet not to win. You can't bet to avoid losing. When you see that opportunity, you've got to be able to do it. And you're in that nice position, especially after the last 2 months, where you're playing with somebody else's money, as are your customers.
Yeah, we've been on a nice run the last 2 months or so, and, I think I've got a good feel for what's going on. I mean, even last night, you could say I had a good feel for it. Ultimately, you lose, there's no, you say all the time, there is no good losers. I mean, a loss is a loss, and that's the bottom line. But, I take a little solace in when I got a 25-point lead that, my thinking was initially right and the team just collapsed, which it's going to happen, and I'm okay with that. But, there's a lot of factors when it comes to gambling, and the main thing is you got to keep you focused. That's the most important thing. And when you're losing, it's very hard to do that. I mean, I could come on and gamble and, as far as the weekly, the monthly figures go, like if I'm winning, I could make a smaller play just to have a winning week. No, I don't do that. I gamble the way I gamble. If I like a play, if I'm losing, naturally I'm going to bet a little less because that's just smart money management. But if I'm winning, I'm going to bet more on those games that I like more because that's how you're going to build your bankroll. You're going to bet less. Even if you like the game a lot, you got to bet less if you're on a losing streak or you had a couple of bad days. And when you're winning, you got to go for the gusto because that's the way it is.
Right, and that's how you expand the bankroll even further. When you've got accumulated bankroll, you want to double it, you want to triple it, you got to take shots when you see it. Let me ask you, and I've got to talk about some other things here about, every day in the videos. Just because you're here, I'm still going to talk about who's hot, who's not. I've got a money-saving discount coupon code coming up as well, and we'll each have a free pick here. But let me ask you, of all your years here, you've been doing this over 15 years as a professional gambler. You've been here every single March. What do you think, if there's one thing, the biggest mistake gamblers make right now during tournament time? And I'm not just talking about the big dance, but the little alphabet soup tournaments as well.
I think the biggest problem with most gamblers is they just get caught up in how many games there are. There's 4 early games, like out here on the West Coast, 9:30. Then there's 4 12 1 o'clock games. Then there's 4 o'clock games. Then there's 4 7 o'clock games. They just get into this frenzy and this mindset that You got to bet every game. No, it's the same philosophy. You could pick and choose a couple of games. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to bet 5-team parlays, 6-team parlays, but you know what the reality of hitting those things are? Very small. Very small. And the bottom line is, they don't give you the right odds on a parlay to begin with. So when you hit it, you got to be thankful that you're getting what you get to begin with.
I know it's the economy of greed. I've called it over the years. Guys, if I gave somebody the absolute guaranteed single best bet on the board today and promised them it would not lose, most gamblers would say, well, do you have another play because that game goes early? I know exactly what you mean. I mean, that's the way it is. I think one of the biggest mistakes is that people forget the little tournaments, the NIT, the College Insider, the CBI. I know I dipped into the NIT last night for the free pick winner on Stanford. I was very fortunate to get a 10-dime winner to snap a losing streak with Tennessee, laying 13.5, won by 14. But the little tournaments, to me, have so much value at this time of year because everybody's focused on the big dance. And the lines are incredibly sharp in the big dance. Although, granted, I will be the first to admit that you have to be very careful in these smaller tournaments because you don't know about the team's motivation. If they were snubbed from a big dance invitation like Drexel tonight. Are the Dragons going to show up tonight and win, or are they not going to get over the fact that after winning 19 in a row and losing their final game of the year, they didn't get invited to the big dance? I think personally that's one of the problems that gamblers run into as well this time of year. Let me just quickly, while you're here, you already talked about Trace Adams losing his big play. He wasn't the only one. There are some days here I talk about all the handicappers have great days, and there are other times where it's just one of those days. I mean, and that was the case yesterday. I had the charity play of the week, and by the way, you had a winner with that a couple weeks ago. I want to thank you for allowing me to give that away. Last night I went with Chuck O'Brien, biggest college release of the season, 75-dime winner, number 6 out of 7. Unfortunately, guys, Dayton did not do it. That does not deter me. We're going to continue to do the charity play of the week giveaway. Remember, a week, because we have moron programmers, a week is actually 8 days in this company. So sometime here, 7 days from now, we'll have another one coming up, at least 7 days from now. Unfortunately, Craig Davis, who has been almost as hot as you, Red. Last night lost his 60-dime winner, number 2 in a row, and Marshall hit the 25-dime bonus play on Stanford, but he still had a loss of 41 dimes for the day. And yet still, from February 1st, $10 bettors have won $4,855. A $10 bettor has won $3,345 the past 3 weeks alone. So it's not like Craig is certainly struggling overall. And tonight, FYI, guys, Craig has 50-dime winner number 6 out of 8. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jeff Bendon, who, by the way, I'm going to be doing a video with Jeff Bendon here in the next couple of days. And after he sees you on, if I don't mention Jeff Benton today, he'll be pissed anyway, and I'll get that nasty email from him. But Jeff Benton is on a nice roll, which, of course, I could say it's about time. That's my shot for Jeff today. Jeff has won 5 straight winning days, and tonight 40-dime winner number 7 out of 9 on Delaware and Butler, just as strong as his 40-dime winner. Nice call last night on Princeton, winning outright at Evansville. Now listen, guys, your money saving discount coupon code is going to be tonight 14 March, the number 14 and the word March, M-A-R-C-H. Put it all together, no space between 14 and March. 14 March, that'll save you $14 off a single purchase you make today. Once again, that is 14 March. Let me ask you, do you have a free play here? I've got one I'm going to give here in a minute. I want to find out what your free pick is tonight.
Well, if I got to go with a free pick off the top of my head, I'm going to say this Wofford team against Pitt. Pitt has not been a good team all year. They just don't have any balance. I don't know what it is. To me, the Big East this year really wasn't that strong. I mean, you had a Syracuse, you had, even Georgetown. I mean, I just don't think the Big East was a strong conference this year, and Pitt was really at the bottom of the conference as far as I'm concerned. And I think this Wofford team really has a shot to play with them. I'm going with Wofford for the free pick.
Yeah, and listen, Wofford, and FYI, their nickname is the Terriers, so any of you out there interested in betting them, you now have my permission because I've now told you their team nickname. I mean, they have postseason experience. They've been in the big dance before, but I agree with you. I mean, Pittsburgh, they finished by losing 7 of their last 9 games, and from really middle of December on, Jamie Dixon's team just did nothing. I mean, they have that one great game, and you think, man, they're ready to turn the corner, especially like when they went to West Virginia and they went outright. and then they just collapse. I mean, they've got some individual decent players with Gibbs and that point guard they've got whose name escapes me, but yeah, they just don't put it together, and I certainly don't see them playing in the NIT, being motivated to cover a 13-point spread tonight. Speaking of the Big East, my free pick, it's going to be in one of the play-in games tonight. I like South Florida as the 3-point dog now. They were up from 2.5. 3-point dog against California here this evening. You know, one of the things I look for is how teams do going into the postseason. And you've got a California team that, you know, really struggled, lost their final 2 regular season games and bounced out of the Pac-12 tournament. So they've lost 3 of their last 4. Now, granted, I didn't like how South Florida lost at home to West Virginia. And then, of course, they were bounced in the Big East tournament by Notre Dame in an overtime thriller. But you've got that lockdown defense. They only give up 57 points a game. You've got a California team that relies exclusively on its outside shooting, and Gutierrez and Crabbe, they have not been shooting well. It almost to me seemed like the Golden Bears were a little winded toward the end of the season. And even though they're 24-9, hey, look, you know, they went 13-5 in the Pac-12, and could there be a weaker big BCS conference in the Pac-12 this year? So even though South Florida didn't play, and even though South Florida didn't play all the big shots in the Big East, I still got to go with them here in this particular game as a dog tonight, a low-scoring game. I mean, maybe the under's the way to look at it, too. But you like the South Florida pick?
I do like South Florida. Like you said, the Pac-12, to me, is a very, very weak conference. As evident, Colorado comes in the first year, wins the tournament. I mean, that shouldn't happen, not for a first-year team in a conference. But the Pac-12, I agree, very weak conference.
Okay, hey, thanks for joining me here. If I got to be up at this early hour, it's a good thing you are as well, although I'm sitting in my office and you're sitting outside enjoying the day. Hey, look, thanks, and we will do this again. We'll try to do this about once a week, but there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. And since, of course, you're an actor, I'm paying, I'll send you over the check later today. Yeah, right. I want to do that too often because you kind of remind me of Gumby, the little green character Gumby when you're doing it. It's a scary, scary thought. Right. Okay, look, take it easy. And, guys, I will be talking to you again early Thursday morning for the first round of the big dance. Take it easy, guys.